We are back! Through popular request, I've decided to return us to the world of what if Sonic was serious. Last time we already saw events had changed considerably in that Sonic has a far less dense circle of friends he can rely upon, and that the Doctor has gone under some permanent scarring. Things are only going to get even more crazy from here on, so let's push into the adventure era and find out just how it would change if Sonic was serious. Angel Island has seen its fair share of torment, but once the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles had come to a close, it still remained with a presence of the Eggman, for the Death Egg in this timeline is still crashed upon its surface. It wasn't in a condition to re-enter space, so it was left in the way it was during the first half of Sonic 3. And within the dome is where Robotnik, having to use his own machinery to keep himself alive, operates. He knows that the Master Emerald is still going to be located, but he won't have the force at the moment to take it. So instead, he goes to the wreckage of where his loyal Egg Robo servant was destroyed, and from what he can scavenge, he manages to salvage some of the combat data from Hypersonic and Hyper Knuckles. Surely, this will come in useful somewhere down the line. With his plans in tatters, there's not much reason to stay on Angel Island, so he scraps together a couple ships and rounds up any of his surviving henchmen and flies all the way back to his Metropolis zone, where he's got better facilities. All the whilst, on the same floating island, Knuckles the Echidna has taken the Master Emerald deep into its sanctuary, where he refuses to leave its presence. Before, Knuckles would venture out time and again to make sure the island was safe and to make sure the traps are keeping any would-be invaders away, but now he's very paranoid at the fact that the giant metallic Death Egg remains on his island. He's not a technological genius, he has no idea if it's still a threat or what could be inside, and it would take a long time to completely check it. So instead, he's gone hermit mode, completely isolated, just him and the Master Emerald in the secret chamber, just in case. And that's how he will remain for the time being. The Doctor, back at home, is going to start doing a couple small incursions. He will be preparing squadrons of badniks to go over, terrorise some places of interest, and search for anything that could be useful. But he's going to keep the vast majority of his resources at bay within his giant workshops, preparing them for a greater plan to come ahead. If anything, all he's doing right now is keeping the locals busy. So time passes on, the seasons change, and eventually we're going to find ourselves at what is the beginning of Sonic Adventure. The police are rushing down to some sort of crime scene during the night of the human city, and the people are afraid that some terrorist attack is afoot. However, flying through the rooftops and noticing the panic is none other than the twin-tailed hero, Miles Tails Prower. That's right, it's not Sonic who spots the police cars, but Tails. Ever since Sonic let him go, telling him it wouldn't be safe for a child to fight evil doctors of mass destruction, he's looked up to the figure who saved him from his bullies and showed him how personal agency can change your situation. So ever since Sonic left him behind in Emerald Hill Zone, he's been preparing and working on himself to become a valid hero, and he wants to do something to catch Sonic's attention so that he will notice him and this time accept him. So seeing the police rush off, he sees this as the moment he's been looking for and follows them. The police are all surrounding a building of which this strange liquid creature deploys down for a fight. They fire their weapons, but the bullets do nothing to its liquid body, and as they retreat, Tails flies into action. He's equipped himself with an electronic arm cannon of his own design. The water creature goes to swing, but Tails is flying around, making him harder to hit, and he zaps it with his giant arm laser. It hurts the creature, but Tails isn't done. He throws up a sentry bot of his own creation that projects a shield around him to keep him safe. Soon, the creature grows tired of this and swats the machine with one arm and bashes Tails into a wall with the other, pressing him against it, both restraining him and drowning him all in one action. Just when it felt like it was about to be his grim end, another player enters the scene. Sonic the Hedgehog, and he spin dashes off a police car into chaos, saving the twin-tailed fox as it tries to fight our blue hero. But Sonic is not playing games, so he takes Chaos out with relative ease, reducing him to a puddle which runs away down the nearest drain. Yes, Sonic is serious, but at the end of the day, a puddle is a puddle. Unless he brought a rug with him, he can't do anything about it. So instead, he'll make sure Tails is alright, and then question what he thought he was doing trying to take on this creature alone. Tails will state his case, talking about how he knows he can do what Sonic can do, he just needs to be given a chance, and he was going to prove himself against that creature. But Sonic says that he's only proving his point, that he's getting himself hurt, doing things he's not ready for. However, some reflection does take place in the Hedgehog's mind, and he realises that perhaps his dismissal of Tails wasn't the most responsible way of dealing with it if it led him to do this. So, this time, Sonic's going to offer to mentor Tails a little bit, show him the ropes, teach him how to keep himself safe while fighting the robots, which is the news Tails wanted to hear all along. Reports of robots attacking the local resort at Emerald Coast are the ideal spot for Tails to get his training wheels off, so the two of them rush down to the beach to sort out the new Eggman robots. Of course, their presence doesn't immediately confirm that the Doctor survived, but Sonic is pretty sure it's a sign Eggman is still around somewhere. Now we're going to step back and rewind time just a little bit to figure out what exactly the Doctor was up to. After he'd done those small incursions I mentioned before, he managed to come across some ancient stone murals and tablets, and as he read the manuscriptures, he learned of an apocalyptic event that took place on the continent long ago, which had the side effect of reducing echidna populations down to near extinction. Its destructive power was compared to that of a god, and this piqued his interest. So with this new heading, he returns to Angel Island, following the leads that these manuscripts told him of the creature's possible location. Knuckles, as I said before, has been hermiting under the ground with the Master Emerald in the chamber, so he's not going to be aware Eggman is returning. He's not aware of anything on the outside world. All he knows is if anything comes into that chamber, they're not going to come out of it. Dr. Eggman is a very smart man, so he knows Knuckles is going to be in there, and he knows he's going to be trying to defend the Master Emerald, so he's come in force. The E-Series, his elite taskmasters, his personal agents, have been constructed for the purpose of fulfilling whatever he desires, and they blow the doors to the Emerald Chamber wide open, filing in and blasting Knuckles. The Echidna has a knack for survival, digging through the ground, throwing pillars, but he can't stop them all. It's one against many. And ultimately, he is defeated and captured. With the Guardian out of the way, the Master Emerald is split open, freeing Chaos Zero, as well as a strange shimmering light that flies away, though it's of little concern to Dr. Eggman. He collects the Water God and leaves. He decides to repurpose the broken Death Egg whilst he's still on Angel Island and use it to contain the Master Emerald's pieces as well as its Guardian until he can return to finish the plans he has in store for him. From there, he will launch the Egg Carrier and make his way to Station Square. Dr. Eggman has gone over the data he's collected from Sonic multiple times, and he's come to the very sound conclusion that as long as the Blue Blur has all the Chaos Emeralds, he's going to lose to him every single time. It would be a waste of effort to commit anything if Sonic still has them, and he can assume Sonic does because he got away with them on Angel Island. Furthermore, if he wants to harness the true destructive power of Chaos, he's going to somehow need those emeralds, and getting them out of Sonic's hands is going to prove quite difficult. But that's why he's come up with a master plan to manipulate the Hedgehog right where he wants him. The original plan in Sonic Adventure isn't going to work anymore because the Hedgehog already possesses the emeralds. So how's he going to do it this time? Well, while Sonic and Tails are busying themselves dealing with his distractions of badniks, Dr. Eggman is going to reveal the egg carrier to all of Station Square, descending from the sky, terrifying the inhabitants, one of which being Amy Rose, who will look up and drop her food shopping for the day. Amy did encounter Sonic during the events of CD. Yes, in this version, he rewound time and stopped Eggman ever taking over, but the cards were about foretelling an encounter with Sonic. They still would have told Amy to go to Little Planet, and so as Sonic's on his way out, he will bump into his fangirl. Of course, the encounter's going to be brief, and then he's going to keep going, but Amy did meet him, just not in the same way. Regardless, her life is a similar one to the one in Adventure, except she doesn't have the memories of being kidnapped by Metal Sonic and saved by her hero. That doesn't change her admiration for Sonic, of course. She just has less of a personal connection to him now. And she has even less of a connection to the story currently going on. She really is just another civilian at the moment. Whilst we're on that topic, Big the Cat doesn't have anything going on. Him and Froggy are fishing in the Mystic Ruins and life is good. There wasn't a Chaos Emerald for his Poliwag Pal to swallow, and because the Chaos was freed in the Emerald Chamber, his tail couldn't scatter off somewhere random for a frog to drink either. So yeah, Big is completely out of the picture. Gamma, on the other hand, is with his E-Series brothers, and he's not going to go off on a separate mission to find a frog. They're serving the purpose they were supposed to, be Eggman's elite enforcers. Due to the frog mission not happening, none of them get dismantled or repurposed either. They're all in their regular form that you see at the start of the game. And so, with the egg carrier looming over Station Square, the Doctor makes an announcement.
Greetings, denizens of Station Square. I am Dr. Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius in the world. You will submit to me or suffer the consequences.
He also mentions that if they try to resist, he will send down 5 of his most powerful robotic creations that will eliminate every life form in a 100-mile radius. Sonic and Tails hear this announcement, and seeing that his adversary has once again cheated death, Sonic sets into action, leaving Tails behind as he transforms into his super form and flies right up into the egg carrier, crashing through its hull, barreling right into the center, and finding Dr. Eggman. This, unknowingly to Sonic, is exactly what the genius wanted to happen. He baited Sonic into action, but to keep the ruse up, his E-Series are also located beside him, and he commands them to restrain the blue blur.
Ah, Sonic! Good to see you again. I was wondering when I'd get to repay the favor.
And Sonic notices that Dr. Eggman is looking a lot more like a metal man than he used to.
You got me good, Hedgehog. But now it's my turn.
Your face looks rustier than I remember, Eggman. Do you have a couple screws loose too? These bucket of bolts have nothing on me. And Supersonic barrels through one of the E-Series, destroying it in an instant. The rest open fire, but their attacks bounce off Supersonic's body as he destroys them one by one. A floating red ball of light flies near Supersonic's face, and assuming this is another attack, he swats it, sending it flying away. With the E-Series all destroyed and the flickies inside freed, Supersonic looks into the Metal Man's eyes and questions what he thinks he was going to get out of all of this. The Doctor responds,
You've taken a lot from me, Hedgehog. My body, my pride, my creations.
He holds his frame, feeling the metal.
I can't even feel the way I used to anymore. I am half the man I used to be, Sonic. And for that, I am grateful.
And he pulls a lever. Sonic unknowingly has been stood in a chamber. The glass flies up, sealing him off from the rest of the room. Supersonic folds his arms, as if this could stop me, but before he can act, water douses over him. Sonic's one weakness, swimming. Still, water is just water. Sonic could fly right through that glass, shattering it and barreling into the Doctor's face. The problem is this isn't any ordinary water. A pair of green eyes and a pink brain are contained within it, and as soon as the water envelops Sonic, his body seizes up. He starts screaming out, but soon his mouth is swamped under this liquid, bubbles frothing from his lungs, his body shaking as if being electrocuted, all whilst a robotic laughter clanks at his expense. Dr. Eggman has allowed Chaos Zero to start extracting the power of the Chaos Emeralds right out of Supersonic. The Hedgehog brought all 7 to him just as he wanted. Sonic can't resist. Chaos is an expert at manipulating the emeralds, of which Sonic currently contains. So stuck within his own liquid body, he can do nothing but feel as the emeralds are drained out of him, his super form ending. Metal Robotnik remarks that due to not being able to feel empathy the same way he once did, losing touch with some of his human emotions, he's been able to throw aside his hubris, his ego, and allow himself to plan far more efficiently than he ever did before. Once again, he will thank Sonic for doing the hard work for him. Meanwhile, Chaos Zero, or now Perfect Chaos, begins to swell. The egg carrier has been designed for this purpose. Tubes that can contain Chaos's liquid body are all over its metal frame, allowing him to spread far and wide. Dr. Robotnik returns to the speaker, reiterating that the station square is now under his dominion. But then, just as it was all going right for the madman, it begins to explode. The egg carrier bursting from the walls, sirens wailing, electricity sparking.
What? No way! This isn't happening! This isn't happening! I can't believe this!
Perfect Chaos has nothing but anger in its mind. So as soon as it achieved the form it's been looking for, it rebelled against Eggman, and it uses its giant liquid body to burst out of the egg carrier, sending it crashing down from the sky in many pieces as Perfect Chaos literally rains down over Station Square and begins to drown it under an ocean. Chaos only used the negative energy of the emeralds, leaving them as grey husks of their former selves. And alongside them, an unconscious Sonic crashes down towards Station Square, but he survives the fall. Tails manages to find him and pulls him out of the water onto a collapsed highway. From there, a red light will direct Tails to where some of the Chaos Emeralds had fallen. By the time Sonic comes to, Tails is already beside him with 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. The red light returns and this time reveals its true form as Tikal. Sonic and Tails are completely caught off guard by this, and this is the moment Tikal will tell them about her past, specifically everything relating to Perfect Chaos's rampage and why he must be stopped. Tikal will caution that she doesn't have a plan anymore, seeing as the Chaos Emeralds have lost their power, and Tails will mention they don't even have all 7 anyway. At this point, Amy Rose will show up, holding the last emerald, and she tells Sonic she doesn't know if this will help him, but if she can do anything to assist, she's willing to. With all 7 Chaos Emeralds, they look towards Perfect Chaos as it begins raising Station Square to below the ocean. Humans are trying to survive by getting to the highest pieces of ground still available above the water's surface, but some of them spot Sonic and begin cheering his name, hearing of his deeds of the past, of how he saved them many times before. Tails and Amy also chip in, telling Sonic they know he can do this. Sonic feels the weight of the faith the people are putting into him and clutches the Chaos Emeralds, feeling a strange pull to them despite their changed appearance, and he manages to access Super Sonic using the positive energy, which Tails manages to theorize, Tikal being surprised that was even possible. In his super form, the Ghost Echidna tells Supersonic that he must destroy Chaos. There is no other way out. And so the fight commences. The golden hedgehog flies past the building, skates across the water, dodges the beams of energy, and hits the giant water lizard until it is subdued. At this point, Tikal announces that she's going to seal Chaos in the Master Emerald. Now, in the original, Sonic objected to this, saying it wouldn't solve the problems of Chaos's anger, it wouldn't stop this from happening again in the future. But due to how Sonic has spent so much less time with Tikal in this version of events, she didn't portray all of the angles to Sonic, and there wasn't enough time to consider them. So Sonic's just going to go along with her plan to seal her before it does any more damage to the people of Station Square. But as she closes her eyes and raises her arms, she gasps. The Master Emerald, something's wrong. She can't command it. It's as if it's not whole anymore. With this dark revelation, Chaos is able to escape. It slinks into the vast amount of water and travels somewhere unknown. He was still handily beaten. He's not perfect Chaos anymore, and he's not in a state to fight. But he is not contained. He's out there, somewhere. The Master Emerald's issue is quite urgent though. So Tikal hitches a ride with Sonic, and together they fly all the way towards Angel Island. She senses where the Master Emerald is roughly, and points towards the Death Egg, which causes Sonic to sigh. It seems once again the madman has caused problems. They enter the Death Egg. It's dark. Most of the lights are out. It's a broken spaceship after all. But using Tikal as a guide, they manage to come across the containment area for the Master Emerald. They see it spinning seemingly alright until after a certain angle they notice some of it is missing. And then dropping down from above is a metallic creature, a red echidna. Tikal is surprised once again. One of her own, seemingly. It's designed after the echidna. Sonic looks at it very carefully and notes the similarities it has to Knuckles, the guy he fought from here before. But there's not much time for any more contemplation as the mechanized creature attacks. And surprisingly, its hits are strong enough to harm Super Sonic. Being knocked back from that surprise blow, the robot then places its arm on the Master Emerald. It glows, and a green light emanates from its chest as well. Tikal mentions that its power seems to be rising, and Station Square is still fresh in Sonic's mind. Instead, he's going to tell Tikal that it seems to be stranded here for now. So, they fly out, and on his way, Super Sonic bashes the entrance to the Death Egg, causing it to collapse. Probably won't do much, but anything helps. And they fly back to Station Square to try and help the locals out. But, once again, this is going to be where the video ends. It's already gone on for quite a bit. Sonic Adventure has turned out quite differently, I think it's fair to say. Big the Cat living his best life. Gamma destroyed early. And Eggman's plan completely different, but still involving manipulating the Blue Blur. At the very least, Tails has managed to work with Sonic to a small degree now, so he's no longer left alone. And Amy has found herself back in the centre of attention. But for how long that will remain is unclear. Perhaps more interestingly is that Tikal and Chaos are both kept outside of the Master Emerald now. Still, if you want to see this series continue, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you have a great day, and to see you next time. This is the Mighty Emperor signing off.